talking about community and that, I see flipping the White Lives Matter gang clapped back. What? They clapped back. Big banner over the, what was it, the Etihad Stadium?
Etihad, Man City,
Etihad
Burnley.
Stadium, yeah. White Lives Matter. What did they do? I didn't watch it. I didn't see it. I just saw it on flipping Twitter afterwards. Did they actually fly this over when these lot were kneeling and like, did they time it like that? Or did they just do it over the stadium when the game was on?
So it was, when was the game? Tuesday.
Yes. Wait,
they flew it over.
What day is it today? No, it's Tuesday now. So the game was on.
Yes, it was yesterday.
Monday,
yesterday?
yeah? Sorry, bro, losing track days. They flew it over just before, so at the same time that you're talking. And guess what we heard after the game? The Burnley players heard that they were going to do it.
What?
Burnley fans.
Did they?
So the Burnley guy came on screen, Ben Mee, shout out Ben Mee. What a selfish name, but look how he cares about people.
Strong.
They started talking about the game. He said, we're not going to talk about the game. Donny just move aside. They lost 5-0. And their Burnley team, they don't lose 5-0. Their Burnley are very rigid, very boring. They treat their midfield like a tennis net. So to give it some context, to lose 5-0 to Man City is not an embarrassment, but it's not really what Burnley do. Ben Mee in that interview, and I retweeted it, so go check it on my timeline. He's letting you know my head was gone. And he was disgusted. And the way he broke it down about re-educating, and only in 3 minutes on Sky Sports, that was one of the most genuine responses I've seen to something in my whole... There's no time to lie, Chuckie. I've just played 90 minutes. I've lost 5-0. I'm telling you, before we came out, we heard that some people were going to put a banner. We've come out and we've seen the banner and it's our fans. And now you want us to go and perform for you.
Straight.
He came straight like you was a small minority. He did say it was a small minority, but you're ruining it for everyone. Like, even if you do think white lives do matter, understand the 11 white lives on that field that time, they didn't play the way that you want them to play because they were so concerned with the message that you were delivering on a banner. Like, it's pathetic.
Do you know what is mad as well though? It's like, I look at the process in what it takes for that to happen. Like, someone doesn't just come out of their house and happen to have an aircraft in their garden and then just say, you know what, let me just fly this thing. Like, there's a big process in getting something like that flown over there. So when I saw it at first, I thought it was a joke. I thought someone edited it. I was like, how? Like, what? Like, what is that about? Like, why? I don't understand it.
But we can't be like, don't understand, because you've seen
No,
video.
of course I understand it, but I just think, like, fucking hell, over Etihad Stadium, I don't know, man. I just feel like that is...
It makes
it's a lot
sense,
to...
It makes perfect sense for them to do it.
It's a lot to do that over... I don't know. Go on, sorry.
It makes perfect sense for them to do it there, though. They're looking at it, Black Lives Matter. They're triggered, they're uneducated, they're ignorant, they have no knowledge, and they just go and say, scrap it. Well, like, white lives matter as well. To let you know how deep it's getting, I've had a friend tell me, he's gone to his brethren's house, and this is how deep the situation is, and kind of embarrassing, and why I don't even like talk about it too much, just, unless we're here, at least it's contained in one spot. Cause imagine you going to your long-term brethren's house, you're both black, you both got white girlfriends, and mid-celebration of whatever you lot were celebrating, she picks up a glass and goes, anyway, all lives matter. Her boyfriend's black.
Yeah, but
that is the world we live in. I can't be angry.
Yeah, but do you know what? That is I'll tell you what that is. That's a clear example of because you like a individual black person does not mean that you like black people. So yes, you have a black boyfriend. Yes, you may like the occasional black man, but that doesn't mean that you particularly like black culture. You don't like black people. You may not like what black people stand for. You might not like black people food. You might not like nothing about black people. You just like him.
And the thing is, you need to take a look at the characteristics some people have. People now ignorantly attach characteristics to a particular type of race. So within that ignorance, we can go further. If people are affected like that, and that is the case, shut that door for me, please. And that is the case, that means there are people that will say someone's behaving quote unquote white. Yeah. So if you're behaving quote unquote white, all that means to me in this, and it's always mean it to me, is that if that is how you live your day-to-day life on a stereotype, then you're feeding into the racial stigma that black people have. You're not even trying to be what comes natural to you. You've decided to adopt a culture that's not necessarily yours in order to fit in somewhere. It doesn't make us look good. And I got nothing against people that do it. But if that's what you're doing, and you're accepting, you know, who you are within this world, and your name Babatunde means nothing or anything like that, cause it's always been confusing to me. So when I hear all lives matter, you might as well just say white lives matter.
Yeah, of course.
When I hear I got a black friend, you might as well just say the word nigger.
Like,
all of these things, like, come on, cuz I don't walk around and say things that don't have Do you know where I'm coming from? It's not a coincidence that I was calling Callum racist Callum for years. Not because I don't like Callum, because everybody, you need to wake up, fam. Like, racism is so much around us. I will just make jokes out of everything the way everybody made jokes about me. So, for example, Callum, I'm sorry, Callum, I had to use you as an example of that, but you're not racist at all. You're not racist. Of course you're not racist. Of course,
yeah.
Callum, you're nowhere near racist.
Callum's face went red every time.
Callum, believe me, that's the most... I don't need to, Callum. There are some things, if you're speaking to an educated audience, if you've been working here for 3 years and you know how mad I am, you can't be racist, bro. Come on, fam. You know how it is, man. And you know who the racist people are. Callum's lit. But do you understand where I'm coming from, Chuckie? It's all funny games to make jokes about black people, but the moment I done it about someone that's my brethren, I'm the bad guy. We all laughed at fucking Craig David. Like, no one said anything, cuz. Even I didn't. But when I do it, I was the bad guy. And I love this social experiment I've done. Because now...
Bro, I'd noticed that.
Sorry about that,
before, anyway,
Callum.
I remember that you, what's his name? Marcel or whatever his name was, that was on Love Island. And like, so he was catching a tan and that. And the amount of people that was like, look how black this guy is. Like, look at him. Like, look at him. And I'm like, I've got to a point now where you can't ring me and tell me that, because it's like, I don't know, like, where is that coming from? Like, what are you getting at here? Like, what is it that you're actually trying to say about him or about us? Like, this just seems a little bit too, but because he's on a show and because he's like around a certain type of people and people are making, like, they're commentating on it, I think it made people feel comfortable enough to just have this, what I see as microaggression. Now,
this is why I say you're so lit. And you're so lit, Chuckie. Because take a look at the personal version of what you've just identified. Alham was making jokes, I was making jokes and calling you short. Yeah. You said, don't do that, because if you get to an audience that doesn't understand me, they haven't met me at the same point you've met me. You can call me that. But if you just start saying it like that, and that's not a narrative I want for my business of Chuckie, I'm letting anyone just call me that. And these times, that's the same thing if you identify it with, say I made a joke or you made a joke about someone being of a darker complexion with the knowledge that we have. I'm not saying it's right, but what I've understood is when we say that in public to individuals that have no knowledge whatsoever, you're slightly condoning it. Definitely. Me and you can make a joke about certain things because I can make jokes about my mum. It's my bloody mum.
Mum, exactly.
But the moment I start doing it and it's about subject matters that I think are a little bit like we shouldn't joke about that, and I'm doing it in public, I can't be vexed when someone else does it. So that's the problem that is faced with us. But the only thing with us is that we're born into institutional racism. So we only think what we think because of television anyway. So again, that's their problem. But the point I'm making is I do feel sorry for black people under them circumstances because a lot of them didn't even want to be associated with being black. So they just took on loads of European characteristics in order to fit into a system that's not designed for you to win.
What are they going to do? Are they going to do anything about this plane thing? Because if that's happened once, it can happen again, no?
Chuckie, look, they're not going to even do anything about any of this, fam. This is a great marketing strategy, and
I love it. Do you reckon it will happen again?
I mean, Chuckie, what's the difference between now and 4 years ago when Raheem Sterling's complaining and Piers Morgan doesn't give a shit, but then 4 years later, all of a sudden, he's encouraging Dizzy Rascal to talk about Black Lives Matter. Yeah, but everyone's memories are so fucking shit, they forget when he was cussing Raheem Sterling 2 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago about talking about how individuals on television are marginalised when they're black. And everyone's like, oh, you're always bringing out the race card. Yeah. Like, bro, now all of a sudden you're allowed to pressure Dizzy Rascal to talk about things on TV. Chuckie, this problem is never going to go away.
Just to give context, Dizzy Rascal was on Piers, what is it, Great Good Morning Britain or something like that? Yeah. With Piers Morgan or whatnot, and they were asking him about, he's talking
about new music, and now you want to ask him about...
he had a show and stuff, and then they were asking him about Black Lives Matter, and he didn't want to discuss it.
But Piers Morgan's like, here you go, here's a platform.
Nah, man.
Cause if I was there,
Dizzy did the right thing.
Suck your mother, fam.
Dizzy did the right thing. Look,
Trust me.
You know what? All that happens now is I say one thing, it gets taken out of context, and then now everyone's trying to cancel me.
What do you mean they tried to make him seem aggressive, bro?
Yeah, all of that. Nah, listen, don't do that. I tell you what, I'll give you someone who's very good at doing this, Kakala. You know, he's very good at doing this, and I know that they've had him on before, but even sometimes when they've had him on before, sometimes I like Piers Morgan, by the way, I can't lie to you. Other times I hate his guts. But there's been times where he's like, you know, they had the Carla on, and he's trying to wheel off some facts and say some stuff, and he's not being allowed to actually fully express himself and say it. Every minute he's being cut, and talked over and all of these type of things. If you want to know and you want to get an understanding of something, he was always more than happy to have that conversation.
That's why if I went to go and do Piers Morgan, I think I would win. And do you know why?
Go.
I would do research.
Yeah.
The con is you're allowed to be on this big platform to say what you want. I will watch that platform for a year, my brother. I will watch a year's worth of content on that platform to understand algorithms, your audience, and most importantly, what are the moments where Piers Morgan's allowed to be Piers Morgan? I would study him because he's not going to study me. He's now a mechanic that's designed to operate in a particular type of way. Yeah. I've just got to see that. And once I understand, and that's the one thing I'm decent at, reading people's behavior patterns. Just give me enough information. I'm telling you, anyone could kill them brothers because they're just programmed and they're designed to work in a particular type of way. Doesn't mean he's not intelligent.
No, yeah.
Doesn't mean that he's not educated on certain things. I'm not saying he's an idiot, but what I'm saying is I'll be more aware of your behavior patterns than you.
Yeah.
Because you're just doing you. Same way people can give me
you
feedback
definitely
about
would have
me.
known anyway. Watching Piers Morgan long enough, you would have known that he
bro.
would have done this. But Dizzy also, what it seems like is Dizzy must have said to them before, like, there's certain things I don't want to talk about or whatnot. And when it was brought up, that you noticed Dizzy saying, see,
I told you,
yeah, you was gonna do this, and you was. And do you know what? One of the reasons why I think what Dizzy did was so good, yeah, is
he's
because
a rude boy.
You know what, yeah, like, and I want you to speak on this a little bit as well. Is that for me personally, I'm like, I just feel that people in general need to be careful who you're putting on pedestals to be the spokesperson for things and to be the activist. Do you get what I'm saying? Because
is that the real problem though? Because I think there's a real problem.
A real problem with what?
Ban them platform. I don't even know how many times I have to say it.
No. I wasn't talking about. I was like talking about a wider conversation.
I know, but you're saying a wider conversation, but that wider conversation only happens when there's so many poor examples of it happening. That's why I said to you, if you go where you're celebrated, not embarrassed, what happens is within the celebration there's education. Within the education, people go, if that's the issue, that's where you go to resolve it. So if we're all going to the same place to get situations resolved, then all it does is it makes that place, that infrastructure, or wherever that is, bigger. And it then, if it's one case a week, it can become 2 cases a week. They'll get the manpower to deal with the situation. So what I think we need to do is when we're discussing these issues, we have to figure out who the spokesperson is, because when it's Black Lives Matter, they're just going to ask every black person, like they always do. And when you ask every single black person, then it's like, what black person is saying the right thing for white people to relate to, and then we're just going to use them as a spokesperson. It's like, no, as people, if there's a situation where there's one man that's more educated on giving out how we can go past the situation than everybody else. If there's a group of educated people, let them be the spokesperson for it. Let them speak about it.
I say that in a general term anyway. So like, taking the Good Morning Britain thing aside, obviously there was that conversation about J Cole and No Name, yeah. Ooh. And so, she had sort of come out and she was like, I think she put out a tweet and she was like, oh, none of you lot are saying anything, or I can't remember how she put it, but it was basically about like rappers just not saying some shit, yeah. So which then J Cole made a song saying whatever he said about like not being like not reading enough, not having enough information, and thinking a lot, but he's still been out on the protests and that as well, by the way. So like, regardless of whether he's actually said anything on the music, he's still been outside, contributing in his way in that moment, in like supporting the people and whatnot. Yeah. And he's made a tune. To then she's replied and like said in the song, she was essentially saying that like, there's a man who's had a knee on his neck and all of that, talking about he can't breathe, but the first thing you do is sort of write about me, yeah. And so to me, I know that there was a lot of people that was like, yeah, like, where is J Cole? Where is Kendrick in that? But for me, I had always I personally had never looked at Kendrick or J Cole as activists. I always looked at them as rappers who were who felt things. I always saw them as people who felt things and experienced things and were really good at articulating in music what was going on in their communities and the things that they feel and think. To me, you might say that is element of that is activism, but to me, I never went to them for that, because I always feel like there's people out there who are very skilled at being in settings to be able to sit and talk about exactly what is going on in their community from a super wider point of view. Obviously, Kendrick and J. Cole, naturally as artists, will put out music and then go and do an interview with Charlemagne or what's her name? How should I say? Angela Yee. Not Angela Yee. Angie Martinez and stuff like that. So naturally, with that, they're going to ask you more about your music and dig deeper into an album like To Pimp a Butterfly. So naturally, you're going to get Kendrick Lamar talking about situations that happen within the community. But I'm just like, we're going down a dangerous road if we just naturally think because he's put that in his art that we should now just look to him as the activist. And that also, like, I'll let you speak in a moment. But
no, I'm interested to see what you're saying.
But also that sort of speaks to the role model thing sometimes, because sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I analyze this year from my own point of view and tell me if I'm right or wrong in this. But sometimes I look at, for example, Rashford. Rashford is what he's done in the last couple of months during his quarantine period has been absolutely sensational. What he has done, yeah,
beautiful.
But what I would say is as well is that like he's doing something because he feels like this is the good thing to do from his heart, and he's trying to make a difference within doing that. Later on down the line, you know what? Maybe one day he might have an argument with his girl. He might step out of his relationship. How about that? He might, be with a woman and he might cheat on his woman. Not to say that that is a good thing, but now all of a sudden, all of that good work that he did before is thrown in the bin because we looked at you as the role model. How dare you go and do X, Y, and Z? When you start putting people on the pedestal like that, I feel like it's quite dangerous. For me, when we look at in our community, that was why what Dizzy said to me was beautiful, because it was like, I'm not the guy for this, but evidently Akala is a perfect person to come out, and he'd be more than willing to speak about facts, yeah, from a factual point of view, all of the things that his research and stuff like that. His brain retention is really good. There's other people, not just him, that can do it. But you know what? Maybe we can look to these guys. But I just feel like we as people sometimes look at someone who's done a good thing or said a good thing or articulated a good thing, and then straight away we look at them as a role model. And that's why I thought when people were getting onto J. Cole, I was like, what? Everyone saw this guy as an activist. I didn't see him as an activist. I didn't see Kendrick as an activist. I saw them as people who came from a certain place, saw certain things, felt certain things, knew people that had been involved in certain things, and just spoke about it from an artistic point of view. But not guys that would necessarily come out and have to be put on the front line to speak about stuff that goes on behalf of us. And wait, who's to say that they won't? Who's to say that they won't? Who's to say that at some point that Cole or Kendrick isn't sitting back and thinking, all right, cool, there's a lot happening at the moment, and this is actually kind of triggering. Like, it's making me feel some type of way. I need to figure out exactly how I articulate myself and how I do this, maybe even from an artistic point of view, because you know what? I might go out and say something absolutely outrageous because of the way that I'm feeling. And I can't be mad at you for thinking or feeling that.
It's mad because you speaking about that, my head does so much different things. And I just disagree with everyone. Everyone. I actually disagree with everyone. I've never been in a point where I'm just like, you're all fucking idiots, all of you. But God bless you all, and I hope everything's fine. Chuckie, when I was younger, my dad took me UCI every...
What is UCI?
It was a cinema, like in Mayans, like every Sunday or every other Sunday. Or what took us. And I was really young. Good time. Pick and mix. Amazing.
Pick and mix. There used to be an under 18s called that, mad. Go on anyway.
I can see why now. Literally, all the kids were just for this pick and mix, and you get the long... Oh, great. Anyway. 5-6 months into this procedure, Dad can't take us one time, and a real cool movie's come out, and I can't remember what movie it was. Now, my emotional attachment to going cinema is heightened.
Because you can't go?
Because something lit's happening.
Oh.
Everyone's going.
Oh.
My heightened emotional state means now, Daddy, I want to go cinema. But the truth of the matter is he always takes us. So the way I'm designed is my dad said you must always have honour. I didn't think it was honourable to walk up to a man that always takes me to beg to go again because everyone's going. I didn't see honour in that. Oh, I don't see any honour in that. I think that's pathetic. I respect the fact that you told me every single bloody time. And if I'm triggered because everyone's doing something, and I tell you that's because my emotional state is so high, all of a sudden I want to go today. But if nobody was fucking going, I wouldn't feel the need to go. So is it my choice, or is it the fact that I'm suffering from FOMO? Is this decision mine? I'm thinking this from my youth. I don't want to take the piss out of my parents. I'm not allowed. It's not a done thing. I took my brother and my cousin to cinema myself. You've taken me enough times now for me to have a rough idea how to get to cinema, how much it's going to cost, how much sweets are going to be, and how to get home and what time to get home. I've been given this information for 8 months. I'll do it myself. I've done it myself. Everyone's happy. Let's relate that to J. Cole. J. Cole has primarily provided his services for a group of individuals who are hardly spoken to for a long period of time. He's done it so well and so consistently, the large group of people has grown. So he doesn't do it like some artists do it. They do it for a little while, realize that core group of people is not big enough. They don't know how to reach them. So they just sell their soul to the devil, go to the commercial world and make watered down versions of whatever you're making and tell me this is hip hop. Some dick, man. Like, this is what people... J. Cole didn't do that. He stole truth to himself. True, so long, people used to compare Drake and J. Cole. J. Cole has stayed so true to himself, that comparison no longer exists. No. Drake is OVO doing his own thing, and J. Cole's the man that does tunes with like bass saying, I think I made it, very positive, uplifting songs. So his contribution to being black and helping black people and making us persevere spans over so long.
Yeah.
If Donnie don't want to go to a march, if Donnie don't want to say Black Lives Matter, if Donnie don't want to do fuck all, you respect what he's done for about 9 years and you shut your fucking mouth. Because now that we've got millions of people doing it, cuz, this is what he fought for. He can sit up, put his legs up, get a big spliff and a cigar and keep it moving, Chargy. It's not for you to go and call out these man.
Yeah.
Cuz we're from shit, cuz.
To Pimp a Butterfly came out 5 years ago. Kendrick
Chuckie,
doing this.
Chuckie, we are from shit. From shit, cuz. It's that simple, fam. Man is from shit. My upbringing, your upbringing, all the upbringings that we've had, if you compare it to the way you're meant to nurture a young child and help them grow, it's shit. So for J. Cole to be what J. Cole is, stop pointing out the imperfections. Nothing's meant to be perfect. And what I want people to do is, you see the good things that good-hearted people are doing, help them do more. Stop pulling them down when they do some shit thing just because the world is so shit that you've seen one little ray of light, and because it no longer dims when you want it to, all of a sudden it must be bright when you want it to be bright. You see that ego and entitled attitude? Chuckie, I'm telling you, I told man, fuck off, bruv. Because I know what I do. I know what J. Cole does. I know what you do. If you didn't want to say nothing for Black Lives Matter whenever, it doesn't matter. If you want to see what we think about black people, go to Chuckie's channel and go take a look at loads of episodes of Halfcast. Yeah, no. I got nothing to prove. J. Cole's got nothing to prove. So when No Name comes out and does all of that, who are you talking to, my G? You are the God No Name. You are the G. Them man have done it for time. It's time for No Name to find her name and do her thing. I believe in you, my G. Fuck what everyone else can do. Why can't you do something? If your voice is so big that you can speak about people not doing anything, why don't you speak about doing something? Because clearly your voice is so big people can hear it. Let's say the right thing. Let's not just talk like, come on, cuz, man. I'm sad that racism is so powerful. It's advertised for years. So much that people say don't be racist, people say be racist. That keeps it alive. I'm not saying don't do that. But what I'm saying is, think about the choices we make. Because I said to you, J. Cole's a business. So when he makes decisions, it's for the best interest of the business and his people. 100%. That ain't easy. It's not as easy as just being a regular person who can go and do things. When he speaks, he talks to so much people. He just has to be very careful with the way he does it. Stop putting more pressure on the man. He's already got a bag of pressure. Yeah. So I don't like that. And I don't like J. Cole for responding. I think it's pathetic.
Yeah, so same.
It's pathetic.
Same. I just thought, when I listened to it, I thought, why did he...
Ego. And do you know what as well? It's not just ego. He's hurt because he knows the contribution he's made, and now he feels like he needs to... Cause honestly, bro, I'm telling him, man, though? All trash.
I can't tell him what to do, but I just think, as my brethren, if he was my brethren, and he told me that he was thinking about responding, I probably would have just said to him, do you know what? You should just get a number and chat to her, you know? You just have a conversation with her. If you feel like you could learn something from her, or you feel like what she was doing was triggering in some type of way, or whatever it is, you should just shout her. It's not hard to get the number. You're J. Cole, bruv.
And do you know, to be honest with you as well, I fully agree, bruv, because you know when there's a heightened emotional state, we all say things we don't mean. Yeah. And then when you say something you don't mean in front of bare people, sometimes I'm telling you, that's the tattoo you can't see. You got to stick with it.
Do you know what? Go on, sorry.
Everyone else is going to stick with it. Everyone's going to keep it. So your ego makes you keep it as well. If you just phone a man and say, yo, what's the pattern, Ricky Hatton?
Yes.
And you have the real talk.
Yeah.
You can then execute a plan where you show solidarity.
100%.
Together, you're
100%.
strong. And then people are like, right, they were arguing last week. Well, if they can argue last week and be friends, we can. It's about the messages you're sending. I just don't think anyone thinks about the message and the people. It's just ego.
She might have actually, if he would have rang her, she might have actually said, you know, I didn't even have you in mind.
But she must have, because she responded.
No, she responded after he said what he said, so she responded.
But to respond to say what though? Did she say everything that she said that he said?
No, she in her response, she was basically like, why are you responding to me, bruv? There's people outside dying. That was her thing. It was only a minute. Her thing was like under a minute. So
but imagine this. I would have said, but then why did you initiate things? Because there's people outside dying. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's wrong. No, her. If people are outside dying, why do you feel the need to go to the net to talk about rappers? Phone all of them, like you said. Phone, what can we do?
Yeah. But
that's what I'm saying. Be a pioneer.
I feel she started it by saying what she said, and I just felt like by her even saying that was just a bit off and just weird to me personally. Him responding to it, I just thought was mad because in my mind, I'm like, you could have just called her, and I just think that. If he did call her, yes, she might have turned around and said, yeah, I did say what I said, and I was saying it about rappers and that, but ultimately, I've seen what you've done in the last, your trajectory of your career, so that wasn't so much directed at you, this was directed at so-and-so, your ego is
taking you here.
Yeah, so like, essentially, it's whoever the shoe fits. And for you, you've made the shoe fit you, and now you're taking it a certain way.
There. Pause there. Don't say that. That's wrong. We don't know what happened. J. Cole's an educated man. When I think about it now, he doesn't really make too many mistakes.
So what do you think he tried to call her?
No, I think maybe there was a group of girls that... Listen, you see what I've learned about women in this day and age? They're very calculated. Women don't do things just off the cuff. All the women I've met with in my lifetime, and maybe it's different for in America, but they're very calculated human beings. Men are very impulsive, from my understanding, in terms of because the men that consume the content that I've consumed growing up have become very impulsive, and the women that consume the content I've consumed growing up become very. It's time to think. So I don't think No Name, being as educated as she is, in a heightened emotional state, doesn't say something she hasn't been thinking about for a while. I don't think she just says a random thing. I don't think she's not an idiot.
Well, no, she didn't say.
So by her saying rappers,
yeah,
she ain't chatting about every rapper. She's not expecting Soulja Boy.
She's talking about a certain type of rapper.
So therefore, maybe J. Cole's just responding on behalf of that certain type of rapper, being the biggest example of it within the. And I can't be. Imagine someone comes and says, "Yo, boy, in times like this, certain podcasts should be trying to do more for rare. Come on, lads. You're not really talking about everyone, are you, geezer?
You know my thing, though.
Go on. Yeah, I can't lie. You're active like that.
Hey, can you send me things number?
Yeah, I know. And it's not even, it's just can we have a conversation to figure out what's going on? I hear you. Yeah. You've always been on that.
But,
But do you see where I'm coming from, Chuckie, though, in a sense of...
100% still.
I think we've all got a responsibility.
Can I say as well, though, personally as well, I just think that, like, this fight that's happening right now, or that has been happening for God knows how long, this is not something that's going to be resolved in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. So if someone doesn't say something in the moment that you don't like it, doesn't mean that they're not going to say something at all. Do you get what I'm saying? Also, to be honest with you, as a fan of Kendrick more so than Cole, right now I don't want a Kendrick album right now. I want a Kendrick album when the dust is settled, no one's talking about this anymore, we can see who's on what changes have been made, all of these different things. There's not so much noise, and now we can have a conversation again. Same way with the To Pimp a Butterfly album came out. Like, look at what that album went on and done for culturally after that. Look at what it went and done. No one was doing that. No one was coming out and doing that.
Beyonce starts doing it now.
Exactly. I don't want Kendrick to come out in while there's bare noise and that. Come out, like, observe. See what's going on, observe. Do your thing privately, because ultimately, some of the stuff that he's probably doing privately is maybe even bigger than the music. We don't even know. But you know what, yeah? Once the dust is settled and we can see clearly, let's have a conversation now. How about that? Let's have a conversation now. But you know what? I say all of this to say that, like, sometimes people just have to be a little bit mindful about who you're putting on a pedestal to be your activist and to be your role model and that, man, because you're just going to get upset, fam. Like, seriously.
I just question, I say to everybody, if you really think you know everything or you don't, just really figure out where you've learned everything you've learned and ask yourself, is that a reliable source? Like, really ask yourself why you think you no, like, oh, all guys are like this. Why do you think like that? All girls are like, why do you think half the things you think? If you don't have a logical explanation for these thoughts, you're mad. You're actually a madman. If you just told me, that's what I think, innit? But why? Oh, you just think that, and everyone can just go around and think whatever they think with no substance and then you have Black Lives Matter marches. I'm just saying, people, if you apply thought, see the same way you might, we're not gonna say treat your mums because some of you haven't even seen your mum during COVID-19. But I mean, if you just apply thought to something that you care about, if you treat everything like that, it's actually a better world to live in. If you just like, well, I'm only treating. Some people are crazy. They put themselves around dickheads and then say, I'm not treating them well. Well, you shouldn't be around them in the first place.
For real.
If you just put yourself around good people, and that's a good mantra for the world. So even down to this Black Lives Matter thing, if you are so upset by the environments that you're putting yourself in, figure out the stuff that you're I have to delete Twitter and Instagram before bedtime. Or at least 3 hours. So you're not
waking up in the morning to
wake up to police killing and this and that. Don't you understand? I had to live with this nonsense that everyone's like really scared about. Obviously not to the extremes that America's happening, but racism and all of that in our area and police punching up, that's just normal, fam. So I don't need to wake up to it now. Before I had to wake up to it and live with it. And now because everybody knows it's something, I must wake up to it every single day. Yeah, backside. I will stop playing FIFA because it has Black Lives Matter everywhere. Like, it's too much.
I was playing the NBA game, bruv, and it came up as well.
It's like, too much. That doesn't make me feel like our lives matter. It makes me feel like you're commercializing something for us to kill it. Because anything that's too commercial, Avisu jeans were hot. When I saw everyone doing it, it died.
Yes.
Like my knowledge of science to things that are commercialized and popular, they drop.
Yes. Academics tracksuits.
Black lives have to always matter. They can't just matter for COVID-19.
For summer.
This is an idiot thing, so I'm not really...
Or spring.
But I still want people to go and march. I still want people because we need to get changes. But I just want people to think about the things they're doing because if you're upset because we can't kneel, you have no idea what Black Lives Matter is about.
That's mad. Academics tracksuits though, boy. Shit.
They were baggy, innit?
What?
I reckon me and you can wear it at the same time.
Not that 100%, bro. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie, bro. My girl at the time bought me an academics track. I can't even believe I had the audacity to even try and wear this thing.
In your size?
Yes. No, it wasn't even in my size. It was like medium. Imagine it was like medium.
Couldn't get academics tracksuit.
Bro, do you know? Have you ever seen an academics tracksuit? So they was already baggy. Yeah, they was already baggy. So small would have not fit me. Yeah, I got a medium. Imagine me walking around in a medium academics tracksuit, bro.
But no one can't say nothing to you because they were rare anyway. So if you've got it, it's like, how
that was the lit thing. Yeah, that was the lit thing. That was the lit thing. I had two academics tracksuits, bro, and no one could get them. But they just never, they didn't fit. What picture comes up when you see them? Let me see. Nah, it wasn't.
We'll send you. I'll send you. What I will say is this: a man came to my estate, 2001.
That's kind of like the look.
Oh shit! All right, yeah.
Callum, in 2001, that's the one.
Was it an American brand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I see their US rappers wear it back in the day.
Man came in that tracksuit with a big Averix jacket, trainers, and a hat which meant I could only see his eyes, not his eyebrows. It was here. Big man. Everything's too big.
Yeah, it's not. This one doesn't look as bad, but no, that's not what I went away from.
Nasty. But then again, I got a scarf on. How can anyone take me serious, man? Look at me.
Bro!
I'm looking like I'm going to fit your fucking boiler in style.
On the last serious thing, though, obviously right now, there's like a lot of allegations getting flown around on the internet, boy. And there's a lot of people out there right now who are definitely probably finding it difficult to sleep. There's a lot of tossing and turning going on because there's conversations, uncomfortable conversations that are coming. There's lists and all these type of stuff that's happening, and it's like, I don't know the angle to discuss this because I think that this conversation may necessarily need a woman involved, but like
100%.
But so yeah, I'm going to say that now. So we're this conversation that we're having right now, for a lot of us, we're not particularly qualified to have it. However,
can you talk about counselling more than talking about the actual incident? Because the actual incident is not something. So like, for example, What you're referring to,
I'm
I
talking
know-
about the sexual assault that women are talking
That's
about.
just
right now.
disgusting. I don't feel comfortable speaking about that without a woman
Okay.
here present speaking. Like I don't feel comfortable about that because
yeah.
I can tell you I've been around someone that has gone through that who's very close to me, and I can see the results in life off the back of that, and I can tell you it's horrible. And when you find out that information, and I only found out the information in the past year, and that finding out that information has answered so many questions I had about this person's behavior, and this person's very close to me. So I would say to you, me talking about this is a bit weird, and I don't find it funny, and I'm not really on that, and I just don't care. And I've never been to. It makes me. I don't want to talk about.
Can I just
just talk about
before you go
cancelling.
on to
I won't talk
before
about
you go on to that though, yeah, because
Horrible.
what you just said though is mad interesting because I've got female friends, yeah, and I've got like some women that are like very close to me, yeah, and in the last couple of years, I've made a lot more of an effort or a conscious decision to kind of listen to just some of their stories and certain things that have happened, because at one point, naturally, some people might have said, or one of them might have said something, and not to say that I wouldn't have thought it was bad, but like I would have just been like, oh right, that's just a bit mad, and then you just carry on with it. But like when I'm actually listening to like some of the stories that my friends and that have been through, bro, it's actually unbelievable. And I think that clearly in this situation here, yeah, even through some of the things that we've seen, there's a hell of a lot of unlearning to do. And you know what? Like, I know that we can't speak about this properly unless we've got a girl here or whatnot, yeah. But there's like, I started to look at certain things that we as guys would kind of just think was just not so much of it just was what it was. So for example, I'll give you some context, yeah. Like amongst the man them and that, a man might say, oh yeah, I'm going to this girl's house or whatnot. And then she says to him, yeah, you can come to my yard, but we're not having sex though. To the man them, that was a guaranteed beat. It was like, what? If she's saying that, that means 100% that this is what it's going to be, because she's probably just saying it because she doesn't want to come across as a slag or whatever it may be and that, yeah. And when I sit and I think about that way of thinking there, yeah, I'm like, yo, you say that around young people and little kids and stuff like that, they just naturally think that that's what the move is. I do also think as well is that like, it's a tricky one, because it's like, you look at the scenario, the environments that people are in and being raised in shit or whatever, but you know, naturally as well, for some of us, like when we're standing next to people and that, we just got to make sure that we make like that man do better. And if it's like, if you're not going to do better in your own environment, you just can't do that around me. Yeah?
Listen,
there's been enough times here where like I've been around certain man or whatnot, yeah, and I see man moving so mad around a girl or whatnot, and I'm like, I need to, you know what I'm gonna do? Everyone's here, I'm standing over there, because I don't want to be looked at and people think that I'm associated with this type of behavior here. And more time, you know what? Sometimes man them may not listen. If a girl says no or stop or I don't want to do that or like stop groping me or whatever it is, yeah, a man might not listen to that. But I'll tell you what, yeah, if your brethren turns around to you and says, bruv, you're moving mad, like don't do that, that there might resonate a little bit more. And that's why I feel that I don't have those issues. Luckily, my brethren are not like that. You're not like that. Ben's not like that. My friends are not like that. So naturally, again, I think I probably speak from a place of privilege in that, because these are men who don't have this way of thinking.
Bro,
They
don't have that common factor of respect. And you know what it is, yeah? I don't allow anything at any point in life. You have to raise your children to learn respect, yeah? But you see, if you make a mistake in life, it's not going to start off with something extreme. You're going to test the waters. So by the time you get to something extreme, cuz you're a disgusting human being, fam. You've tested the waters for far too long and you think you can get away with it. Then man need real education, fam.
Yeah, of course.
Because your life is people think that if you can do one disgusting thing in your life, there's a thought process that's happened around that situation. I begin to wonder about your socializing group. Jeffrey Epstein's really a multi-millionaire, you know, billionaire of fucking little 14-year-old girls. Prince Andrew's really with the royal family. Like, cuz, these men are disgusting, fam. People always talk about my community and the shit that we're raised in. Cuz, Jeffrey Epstein, fam. Prince Andrew, cuz. Don't keep pointing at my community that's raised in shit doing wrongdoing. I know they're doing wrongdoing. I'll be the first one to tell them. But in your world, big man, Jeffrey Epstein has a 4 fucking documentary thing upon Netflix, but that was the same man at a big yard in New York. Do you know what that tells me, fam?
77 million.
Stop pointing at my community and go find the real kingpins of this blood clot. They make me sick, dog. If you can have a business, fam, that you run for 20 years to the point where you got an island. Chuckie, let me tell you something. If that's toilet tissue, that's a very successful business. And if you've got a very successful toilet tissue business that's worth billions, you have an infrastructure. If you got an infrastructure, that means there's competition. Yeah. If there's competition, how do we get rid of this problem? Yeah. So stop worrying about the little idiots in my community when I'm telling you there's a man who monopolized a business of being a kiddie fiddler and is now apparently dead. And now what you think, there's just nobody else. Yeah. Chuckie, my thing is this, fam. Educate that world so it filters down. You can't start from the bottom. It doesn't go bottom up. Yeah. It goes top down.
But what I would say is, though, is that we can do that within our own community, though.
Yeah, and that's why I say, Chuckie.
So I'm not looking to them to do that, but sometimes I think, for example, like my brother, his friends and all of them lot might look to me, not consciously, but they might look to someone like me that is going to be able to guide them and have a certain mindset and process or whatever, and like I think it's really good to talk about teachable. I think it's really good to talk about teachable moments.
Trust
and like
me.
Even like let me land when I say this, but when I looked at the Ray Black and the ambush thing, I thought there was a few teachable moments in there, in that, and like naturally what had happened and what Ray Black said had happened was not cool. Of course, you can't do that. Like you just can't do that, innit? And like I think that now. And I would hope that now for him, he would look back at the behavior and think, all right, cool. You know what? Really, in times where I've just thought that shit, we just did that on the estate and we did that in actually, it genuinely does make some people feel uncomfortable. But I think also another teachable moment was that like, it was sometimes, and this is not specific to him, but this is sometimes to us and from the community that we come from, that when someone is telling us something, it isn't always coming from a place of someone checking you. Do you get me? And like, I felt that when she had accepted the apology, I think that he was cool with that, but he got to a point where it was almost like he felt as though, like I said sorry or whatever, and like you're kind of checking me now. And I see that enough times with like man them from the hood. It's like, I might say to a man, bro, like I don't like you keep saying this to me, bruv, and it's pissing me off or whatever, like you're making me feel some type of way. And the man says, alright, cool, like I hear you still, but I'm still a bit upset. I'm still a tiny, and I'm guilty for this, Poet, if you upset me, you could tell me sorry right now, but 15 minutes later I'm still holding a little bit of feelings because I felt violated. But after half an hour, 45 minutes or a day or whatnot, it's gone. Yeah, but you need to give me that time to just feel this way, and I'll be okay with it. Do you get what I'm saying? And with that, maybe I might say something, or maybe I might. But if you understand that you have upset someone or you have violated or whatever, then you just have to allow them to have that, allow them to just express to you how that action has made them feel, and then after that, once they know that you get it, then it's fine. If you don't do that, and if you like be defensive or you sort of attack back in a way where you think that you've been checked or whatnot, that person naturally thinks you didn't get it. Like I'm trying to explain something to you and you didn't even get it. So now it becomes, now you're going not only from the point of where it started, you've gone 30 steps back now, because this person or me who's being violated feels extra pissed now because I'm trying to make you really understand something, and now you're coming at me with certain energy. And how much times do we see man fight over that? Or how much times do we see, people falling out, like super close friends, falling out over just not being able to check that? And I think we as people, should be able to like sit down and have conversations with the man them in our community and discuss ego. Yeah. Ego is what has people killed. Do you get what I'm saying? Yep. Ego is what has people going out and fighting and doing all of this type of stuff. If you check the ego, or you take a step back and you really look at it, you're like, the actions that I was about to express off this ego here is
mental.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, it's
and do you know where
mad.
Ego comes from? I was talking to Lippy about this on the One Pole show. I was saying to Lippy, the way you're raised, if you still live like that after you've come out that area, it doesn't make sense to me. Because the way I was raised was I had to learn how to survive. So for survival techniques are different to learning techniques. I'm not gonna operate like I'm in a jungle now. I got a scarf around my head. Life's pretty decent. Got my arms out. Got a little tan.
Berber.
It's
Berber.
It's not as blue as it used to be. These trainers are not as white as they used to be.
Berber.
Life is a bit better. All right.
Berber.
You go upstairs, yeah? No, checking it out.
Berber. The reason why I keep saying this is because that's what Poet said when he jumped in the whip. I said, what, scarf and that, yeah? He said, Berber. Berber? No, I said, what, Selfridges? He said, nah, Berber.
I forgot what I was going to say. But
Oh, sorry, brother. You was talking about Lippy, the ego
Yeah,
thing.
I was just saying, like, do you know what it is, fam? Stop using survival techniques when you got to live.
Oh, word.
Just live.
Yeah, trust
enjoy
me.
it. Stop looking at behind your back when you see a police car. Stop seeing brothers in the ends, out at the ends in a different environment. You know there's going to be no problems, but your ego just makes you go, boy, I'm going to let that man know that I'm on my thing. And forget all of that attitude when you're in the dance and you're in the corner. It's a bloody commercial event. The worst thing that's going to happen is probably someone drops a glass and you're in the corner with a rave like, boy, man, if I know I'm doing my thing. What does all this mean? I just think you're trying to survive in a place that people want to live. Let's just live.
And chat to your girlfriends, bro. Man, chat to your girlfriends. But have proper conversations with them.
Or how about you don't? Just break up with them, and when you're ready to actually do something responsible, then do it. Stop bloody having girlfriends and wanting to have your cake and eat it too. And girls, stop bloody accepting bollocks and asking
Well, what are you
people
trying to say,
change.
bro? I know you think I'm trying to chop all my brethrens, bro. I'm not trying to chop my brethrens like that.
You?
I know you think that, innit?
But you are.
You think I'm trying to chop my brethren?
Chuckie, do you know what I love?
He said that like one time.
100%. Callum, remember this one thing. My only thing I remain in life, and I stick by it. If Jesus had social media, he had 13 followers.
Oh my God, he said this.
And if Hitler
This
had
is
social
YouTube.
media, he had 1 million.
He
But
said this.
in
I went to
today,
his yard the other day and he said this
Jesus
about
is
5
the
times.
man and Hitler's a prick. So all that says to me is, if man don't tell the truth, you don't have control of that situation. You don't know when the truth's gonna come out. You don't know anything. But you see, if man told the truth, you can just sit back and coast, fam. Let man chat shit about me. Man, don't mind. We're gonna be here for a little while.
Enough man are
And in 5 years'
sweating
time,
right now, though.
let me tell you, I'm a man that's what? What you know about lock off? That's why I love. Do you know what it is?
Sweating.
That's why I understand
Their
some.
sexual allegations are going on, and it's weird because it's like
But even moving away from that,
some of them are not. Well, actually, some of them. There was a couple that I saw where it was like, I saw people in the comments like asking the particular person like details about something, and they weren't able to say it, and it was like, oh, okay, this one here is not authentic. You could just tell this one's not authentic, and it's like, this is a bit mad because there's something real serious happening over here. There's people that are like giving real personal details about themselves. Like that is a difficult thing to do within itself. And then on the other hand, which I guess you've said, that like people have come out and saying stuff like throwing people's like some people are throwing people's names out there, yeah. And in the context of sexual allegation, the reality is that like if someone just says a person's name, that this is what they've done, the reality is everyone's just believing that.
But Chuckie, again, I don't want to talk about this too much longer because it's dragging on. But one thing I will say to everybody is this: please remember this one thing in life. Please, you have a commercial listener and you have your listener. If your listener cares about you brushing your teeth, drinking water, having a shit, releasing music, linking up with your people, that's an opinion that I think you should care about. If you have a commercial listener, all they care about is when you do the job. That's all their concern is, bro. Give me good music. And that's a good and a bad thing. That means the person that really cares about you cares about when you do fuckery and they want you to do well. But the commercial listener, if you can't do your job moving forward now because of what you've done, you're a prick. You don't even know if they care about the situation that much. You're just a prick because you no longer can provide the service that you used to provide. Now, what person do you really want to start working with? The commercial listener that could be here today, gone tomorrow, just ask everyone that went X Factor, or the person that is actually caring about you, that you can build something with, and after 10 years, you'll be a multi-millionaire. Cuz, stop giving your business to the commercial world. They don't care. That's all I'm going to say to you, fam. Sort out things in the community, dog.
That's true.
And when
honorable shout out to the women that have like felt the need to say stuff, because you know what? There's like, you're not alone in it. There's like bare people that have gone through it in that, and I think for some of them, Like, some of the reasons why it's been such a massive secret and they haven't been able to say it is because they felt like, right, that shit is like, it's just happened to them. And then when you unpack it, you realize there's actually a very big issue here that needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about. So honourable shout out to the Yalem that have done that still.
And please do find like the helpline numbers and any other additional help. Get the education that can help you get through it. Don't just come out, reveal what you've done and think you can live past it, because I'm here to tell you I've seen someone a lot older than even me who can't live past that situation and is now feeling better about it because we're working out techniques that can help them build the confidence they lost in certain situations. You know where I'm coming from, fam?
Yeah,
so don't just think because you've said it you can carry on with your life, cause it's horrible, fam. It must be horrible, bruv.
Before we go, one thing that people need to see or know about.
Yeah, you need to know about the One Post show with Lippy,
okay,
fam.
say nothing.
That's the one thing I was bringing here.
Okay. Where is it?
It's on the Filthy Fella channel, and we've got the next one with Novelist coming out, and we got Gets Fishing soon. So things are going.
Yeah, big. Go on.
One just a shout out to Chunks for hitting 1 million.
Oh yeah, big up.
Oh, you got the whip as well.
yeah, the AMG.
Yeah.
Come on, G. Do you know what? For me, if you like ever in Ealing, go and check Mohammed in Farm W5 and go and get the Ras Clark falafel with the salad and the smoothie and that. Then tell Mohammed I sent you. It's mad. Huh? You from Ealing? Oh, you like the falafel and that? Yeah, man. Honourable shout out to Mohammed in Farm W5, Ealing. Anyway, love and guidance, everyone. Thanks for listening. Yeah?
Do you know what I just learned?
Go on.
The best name in the world is Godwin. God wins. That's a great name. I just thought about it now. What a great name.